May just be us shooting the breeze for a bit. If anybody comes on, we'll see though.
We lit the sky with arcs of steel, left old blue oceans far behind, carried the weight of all we were in data vaults and fragile minds.
What is your channel anyway?
They gave us drives that bent the dark, a way to cheat the march of years.
Okay, so
no one knew what storms would wait between the stars, between the fears. We crossed a realm of light and rage, where distance lost its meaning then. Some ships were broken by the flow, some paid the price but carried on. Oh, the Northwest Passage through the hyperspace tide, a road not marked in any chart but written by those who survived. We lost our way to Earth behind us, no signal left to guide us home. But we found each other in the dark and made the stars.
Well, hello.
Oh, we did have somebody on. Oh,
we actually have a viewer. That was unexpected.
That was one of our friends from the critique group. Man, Victor. He helped us. He's the one who helped us put together the advertisement.
They searched the archives, scanned the void for one clear path back through the flame.
And
but hyperspace does not forgive and never flows.
What we're doing right now, we're gonna play the song. What I'll probably do is make a smaller clip for it, and then for StreamYard.
I'll work on a shorts format one. Don't worry.
Good song though, I do like. That's why I decided to play it. My original idea was to play something by Cell Dweller, but I forgot YouTube. We probably have done something about that. I don't know. I used Cell Dweller for another video I did a while back, and it's just now looked at it as just something like Cell Dweller, but it's still allowed.
The music is very loud and it's drowning you out, Dave.
Let's see if there's a way to.
We're pros, honest. Yeah.
No, it's fine. It looks like
yeah.
Let me turn up this touch. You want people to hear it.
It's because Brandon desperately wants to play the song.
Is that better? Okay, good. I know Terry was saying it's hard to hear me, and now you're saying it's hard to hear me. But let's see, we got things to a bit of a equilibrium here. So like as time goes by, when we do more of these, we're definitely going to be. Yeah. There's a guy I used to listen to a lot. His name was Nash. He would always go live, everybody, whenever he'd make a mistake. This is my first time doing this, believe it or not. I am freaking 48 years old, and it's the first time I've ever done live streaming. I've just pre-recorded everything else that I've ever done on YouTube.
Yeah, this is literally our first ever live stream, and as you can tell, we're so wonderfully professional. You know, we're not getting anything wrong. It's going perfect.
Yep. It's to
with our one viewer, I love it.
Hey, I'm glad we got a viewer, at the very beginning. To
be fair, thoroughly appreciate that you're here. Is there anything you want to know? Because we'll happily tailor everything to you right now, our one most important person.
Yeah, that's what we do. We'll answer questions, show different things off if we need to. I'll see what I can do concerning that if the StreamYard will let me. We're using the free version of StreamYard. We're poor men.
4 books in, still not made a cent.
well, hopefully this will start changing things. And we're just gonna keep on pushing. We're just gonna keep on pushing. I'm just glad I was able to put this all together at the last minute. We had another live stream set up, and YouTube. I have no idea why YouTube, and I know because they got third party people doing this now, like StreamYard. But you would think that YouTube would care about making their system more user friendly. Nope. You live stream on there, you're doing bare bones, and you have no idea what the hell's going on. So.
Well, it's like the co-hosting.
Yeah, I mean,
we have to do it through this rather than just being able to do it through YouTube, which seems counterintuitive to me.
There is a way to do it on YouTube, but you got to be using YouTube on your cell phone.
And TikTok works that way as well.
Yeah, everything that I was looking up to try to say, okay, how do you add somebody to this? Puts it on. It's telling me how to do it on the cell phone. I was like, well, how do you do it from your computer? Crickets.
As the music is cycling, I'll crank it down a little bit more now.
All right, let me see what I can do. All right, that should work. Let me see now. I have another person who said he wants to join us, so I'm gonna let that person know we're live. Maybe he'll be joining us in a bit. And this person was like actually from one thing you ought to know about Terry and I, we're kind of very different in that the fact is that like when it comes to like the characters that I've made in the Wild Space Saga, particularly the Fellion ones, he's not too keen on those. Whereas I would be, I guess you could describe me as a furry. Don't worry, not that kind of furry. But this person I met on a Discord for an interesting series of games. Another one I see is this one who I've been talking to on the on the Drone Commander Discord.
Well, that's what we're. To be fair, Vic, that's pretty much what we're working on at the minute and trying to get the exposure out there. We're very new to a lot of this, so hence us working hard on trying to work out live streaming, work out social media, all that sort of thing. So
yeah, because we're wanting to get our books to sell, and I know that this might be one way to do it. Having a live podcast between the two authors might get people interested in the series. It's something really big that we've been putting together for years, and
20 years. 20 years.
20 years.
2006, you emailed me, and all you wanted me to do was draw you a spaceship.
And there's an interesting story behind that even beforehand. I had this Wild Space Saga was just kind of a few disjointed ideas in the back of my head, which I knew had a lot of potential, and I wanted to work with somebody on that potential because the original idea was to make it into a comic book, and the original wanted to make it into a comic book, and I found a couple of artists, but artists I found out tend to be extremely flaky, and they kind of abandoned things. Even when Terry and I first started working together, we had a couple of other people working with us on the comic, and it was always hard to get them motivated, and then they just kind of wandered off. So, and they're not being paid. I guess I don't blame them, but still, it's kind of dirty pool. So, it's just Terry and I, and we started working on the comic. But later on, it was really stressful for Terry, so we decided to switch to novel writing. You said, where are you public? Oh, go ahead, man.
Hello to Finn Lewis. Hello, thank you for joining as well. Noticing your questions, yeah, publicizing it at the minute. If you saw me looking down, that's me literally just sending it to everyone I know in WhatsApp, in Messenger, and on Instagram.
Yeah, and I posted mine on Facebook through for a Wild Space Saga channel, but all to my friends, just kind of send a general invite. Plus,
that's how new to this we are. Like midstream, I'm sending the links out.
Well, fortunately for me, I sent invites out like yesterday, and I posted it on X, and I even popped to go ahead and get a blue check mark on X so I could boost my my stuff. So I got some people actually started following me on X. So we'll see if anybody pops in, just out of blind curiosity.
It's really a case of ours is sci-fi adventure, so not so necessarily hard sci-fi, really down with the physics, but more good old-fashioned space adventure. You know, space battles, aliens, Brandon's furry aliens. Yeah. No, I'm teasing there, but that, you know, romance, intrigue, adventure. Anyone who just wants to enjoy a good story, a good roller coaster, really.
Yep. And what I'm doing right now, I'm just doing a general invite again off on X, just let people know that we're live.
Of course, yeah, no, that actually makes sense. Sorry, yeah. So Vic's been asking what our typical reader that we're kind of working out we would expect to really sort of advertise it to.
The typical reader, well, you know, anybody who really loves science fiction, especially space opera-esque stuff, adventure, space opera-esque stuff, and a while back, I'll let Terry go ahead and say what he wants about that.
What's that?
I would say I'll let you say whatever you want to say about that as well.
About what? Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening for a moment. I have to admit I was answering Vic.
The question that he asked, the question that Vic asked, presumed typical reader.
Yeah, I did answer that, but that's when he said remember to rephrase the questions in the chat from the chat in the live.
Okay. Well, I was saying, what would you say is our presumed typical reader? That's why I was passing it to you.
Well, I did actually say it, but okay. Like
okay, then maybe I was kind of busy typing stuff up, so I was kind of trying to concentrate on that right for that moment.
No, we do appreciate that. Like you say, it's learning to stream and do it professionally is certainly going to be a learning curve. So all your comments in here are really helpful so far.
All right. Well, let me see something real quick.
It's all right. One of us is paying attention to the chat, even if the other isn't.
I'm trying to pay attention to several things. I was trying to post stuff on other social medias, which I'm about to do one more again. Give me just a second.
Okay, so yeah, it's be about being more specific. If you like XYZ, you'd like Wild Space. This is the kind of thing I usually chastise Brandon on because he will go immediately comparing it to other things rather than let it breathe for itself. But as Vic is asking what you think it would compare to be, I'll actually let you go ahead on that one.
Okay, comparison. I always said imagine kind of some of your favorite sci-fi shows kind of all rolled into one. A little bit of Babylon 5, a little bit of Stargate SG-1, a little bit of just old sci-fi shows, almost Robotech, that kind of stuff. We even got a bit of an old, somewhat obscure 80s cartoon called Jason Wheel Warriors peppered in there. In some ways. So it's the stuff that we loved watching when we were kids and even still love watching now. We wanted this to be sort of just a love letter to science fiction. At least that was what my original idea on that.
So yeah, see what Vic said here. So in a world of nearly infinite choices of media to consume, I need very bright and bold spotlights pointed at something new for me to consider. So probably what I would say separate our work from everything else is the fact that it's less about necessarily the sci-fi setting, it's about the people in it, which I think is how some of my favorite space dramas really worked. Look at the remake of Battlestar Galactica. It wasn't necessarily about the spaceships or the techno babble or anything. It's about the people in it and how they coped with the whole situation, how they got through it. You know, I mean, I was a big Star Trek fan, so I always love doing ships and high tech stuff. But I'm also not going to bog myself down with really hard physics. I'll try and describe something to make it work, so that your mind's eye can accept that it's this high tech device. It'll do this thing, but I won't do it in a way that gives you a whole load of techno babble. These people know how it works; they use it all the time. So it's sort of more about them and how they exist in this world. That's sort of what I would say I find enjoyable and what I would find makes things a bit different. B?
Yes, trying to join back. I was putting up a new message. Let me see here. If you like XYZ, you'll like Wild Space. Yeah, and there's kind of a little bit like that. Let me see. In the world of nearly infinite choices of media to consume, I need very bright and bold spotlights pointed at something new for me to consider.
Good to see being paid attention, isn't it?
Well, like I said, I was posting something else on social media to make sure everybody knew that we were live. So, yeah, I mean, we also look at new stuff. Although, from my point of view, I find a lot of the new stuff that's been coming out to not be quite as interesting or maybe well thought out as some of the stuff that we used to watch when I was younger. I mean, trying to think if I've seen a sci-fi show recently that's outside of anime that has really grabbed me. And really the only one that did was the remake. It was a remake. It wasn't even a remake. It was actually a sequel series to Quantum Leap. I actually enjoyed that. But even I could tell watching it that it wasn't as well made as the previous one because of it trying to split things between the A and B plot. And then the segments that focused on Ben, he was the time traveler, solving various things, putting right what went wrong, in the past, just didn't really hit the heart as much as the original series with Scott Bakula and Dean Stockwell did. Although I did still enjoy the series because I did like the B plot with things that were going on in his time because it was kind of solving two different problems. And the original series never focused only outside of a couple of episodes, didn't really focus on anything that was going on in Sam's time. And I always kind of wanted that to happen. I was kind of glad about that, even though they changed a lot. Like in the original series, Ziggy was this big supercomputer that could talk. In the new one, it wasn't. But
I like Vic's point here about not being too vague or subtle about what your book is. You need to instantly get the attention. Now, you see, that's the thing. I don't immediately usually rush in with comparing it to other sci-fi stuff because to me, it's its own beast. We have our own people. We have our own. So its main thing was actually original about one crew, one captain, and he's inheriting a high-tech ship that's very rare in the universe or in the galaxy. And then we ended up with a second crew because we were going to do for a side story, but Brandon kind of took to them.
Yep.
So
I mean, we still do.
So, Vic, what is your what would draw you normally? What's your kind of thing that you draw? Because you've given me the good questions and you're asking what it would be to get your interest, but we don't actually know what your hook would be. So if I know that, I can tell you whether or not you'd be into this. Meanwhile, I'm going to use the mouse pointer and make it look like I'm picking Brandon's nose.
Ha ha ha.
Okay, so like The Expanse. I've not actually seen The Expanse myself. I've only sort of been snippets and bits of it.
I've watched some of it back when it was on the Sci-Fi Channel. I thought it was really interesting. I actually do want to go back and watch the whole thing. I just hadn't gotten around to it. Personally, the only problem I had with it is that they went way too technical with space travel. I mean, they put like physics in it. They were compensating for all kinds of stuff. And yes, I know that you actually do have to do stuff like that if you're actually trying to fly in space, because you got to compensate for because you don't have well, I mean, you have microgravity, but you don't have gravity as at least like it does on Earth, and you having to compensate so you don't keep flying one direction, you turn in another direction, you gotta put in the stuff to stop, and they're doing like all these calculations and making everything so specific, and then it just made space combat into more of just a logistical nightmare just to show on screen, when to the point where it would almost be boring. So there you go.
Well, Wild Space, I would say, is a lot less anime-ish than before I came on board. Brandon was very Mr. Cowboy Bebop when I first met him. So,
yeah, I guess Akira powers, fortunately, with a lot more control than Kaneda had. So I mean, not Kaneda, I mean Tetsuo.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
Than Tetsuo had, and not people evolving into like energy beings and gods. Well, at least nothing anywhere close to something like that with Akira. But
I suppose I see it as less hard sci-fi because we've set it far enough in the future that the technology is good enough that somebody can fly a ship without having to do all those calculations that you're talking about, Brandon, all of that particular physics stuff, because, well, the ship systems already know what to do when you fly it. So, we already have that kind of with a self-driving car. You still have to fly a ship because it's big. It's a bit too big to, let it fly itself. Apart from in basic flight, like autopilot now, it can take off. The pilot will take the aircraft will take off under their guidance. It'll fly itself to its destination. The pilot will sort of help land it. So that's kind of how I envision our ships working. You plot the course, you tell it what to do, and it'll do most of it for you. So we don't have to bog ourselves down with that harder sci-fi stuff because the technology is far enough along.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more on the Star Trek side, and how the ships work.
I do build them from the ground up, though. I am the person that designs them. I have cutaways and deck plans of nearly every main character ship that we do.
So any of the technobabble you see in the books, that's Terry's doing. Let me see. I will say that seeing the trailer, it gave me a much different mindset about the series than I got reading the story in the critique group. The tone was a lot younger, character-wise, and fun. Well, if it seems that it's less fun in the book,
that's because Brandon made it.
You will be.
I'm not as an optimistic a person as Brandon, so it's obviously lighter and more friendly looking because Brandon's the happy one out there of us.
Well, you will be punished. But anyway, the the story has what's called Terry. I know, like a lot of what you see, like we kind of have an A plot and a B plot for the new re-release that's coming out for the very first book. Where you see more of what's going on with the Shadowstar crew and also with the Reckless crew. And with the Shadowstar crew, Terry brings in a lot of you like to watch kind of like British gangster movies, it seemed. So, well, this the clips that you always like to show me. It looked like they were from gangster flicks.
The Bricktop stuff.
Yeah. And
no, that's because I like Bricktop quotes.
Yeah, and that's okay. You also bring that in a bit into Wild Space Saga, which I like. So and it does give a very different tone when you're dealing with the Shadowstar crew compared to when you're dealing with the Reckless crew. I
understand what Vic means, that it gives a more crazy fun vibe, and it's probably, again, that's because of Brandon and I's very differing styles in how we do things. Fortunately,
our writing styles are actually fairly similar. So it's easy to blend them together when it comes
to Wild Space is more fantastical, and that is deliberate, because it's more about the story than bogging you down in tech and that side of things. So though people have cyborgs and there are androids, there are aliens, the whole setting is just the vehicle for the story. So you can get yourself lost in being too technical when actually it's the people. It's about the people and what they're going through and what the world is itself and how the situation is changing.
Yep. And especially what we have coming, that's going to be the big overarching plot. I mean, you're definitely going to see a lot of stuff happen. The big overarching plot has a lot of nods to sort of Babylon 5 with how you saw.
That's his fault, though. I mean, I do try to absolve him of these wonderful, hopeful ideas.
Yes, he does, kind of. But I'm really am comparing to what we have the overall story to. Is very much similar to at the very most. I mean, it's not absolutely like it, but if you watch Babylon 5, you probably have an idea of what we plan on doing in a sense. So.
Well, that's what he planned on doing. I've been gently poking him away for that for 10 years. So, let
me see. Reading it now after the trailer will be a different experience for me. Well, I kind of hope it will be. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just, I guess maybe my style of writing, maybe just some of the mistakes that y'all have seen when we were in our critique groups, things that y'all talked about. We would have, probably needed, fixing up or boning up on. It felt like it probably did feel like it probably gave a different feeling than what I was intending and what me and Terry were intending to push forward.
It's probably because Brandon has a more naive view about the world than me, probably not necessarily naive, but maybe more optimistic in that sense in the future. So your writing does come across as a little bit more naive and hopeful than I do. I don't mean to be cynical. It's more because I want the people in it and the world to feel real. So when you say about me linking things from gangster movies and stuff like that, it's more about the way people talk, because it's easy to get lost in stereotypical ways people may interact and talk rather than and how people interact rather than how does a person who's known someone for years really talk to someone. And that used to be actually a big difference between Brandon and I, because Brandon would send me something he's written and I'd send him back with with whole chunks of the dialogue completely removed or taken out, because it's like, you get what you're trying to say, but it's not how someone would talk to someone.
Right. That does remind me though, dude. Did you ever get a chance to read what I sent you the other day?
Yeah, I did. I read it and I told you what I thought of it.
Not the one with Maria and Artemis. I'm talking about with Xerx and Paige.
No, I don't remember that one.
He said the same thing the last time. He was like, "Yeah, I already read it," and I said, "No, this one." And you're like, "No, I haven't read that one yet." So
no, I still haven't, because what he does forget sometimes is that I blew out my Achilles 3 months ago, so I'm still working on rehabbing that, and that takes a lot of energy and attention. So no, I haven't seen that, Brandon.
Okay. Let me see. So that's why I'm really pummeling what the reader expectation is. The right readers need to be identified and summoned. Well, I mean, go ahead.
Vic, you are on my level, because that is exactly what I sort of am thinking about with Brandon, with the engagement. The attempt here between the Wild Space sort of thing and doing this sort of live stream is to learn to understand and engage your audience. Make sure you're engaging the right people in the right places. And describing it right we've been writing it so long. I think sometimes it's difficult to actually describe it to someone and help them understand what it is and why should somebody read this over something else. That's something I'm very much learning to do. I'll say Brandon kind of has his way of telling people and describing it. It's just I don't like what he does. But then that's because we're very different people. Maybe actually it does work, but I'm just I'm just a different person, so I wouldn't do it in the same way. But that, what you're saying is, yeah, trying to attract the right people, trying to get the right engagement is something very much working on. And this was our sort of first foray into part of that.
In addition, and what I'm going to be working on after this video, outside of also doing some more animations, which I got down the pipe, is I went on AI and was talking about what I need to do to get the story out to more people. And one of the things it suggested is going on places like Reddit and whatnot, and groups that specifically are devoted to reading the types of stories that we write. And so that would probably be a way to get people more interested. Sharing things on on other social medias. That way we can start probing around for who would most like to read this and start expanding that readership. We do have our DeviantArt.
Just to respond to what Vic's put, do you know what? You're 100% correct, and this is exactly what I'm thinking about and what I'm looking at. I'm actually appreciating you're here and that you're actually putting these comments up. Like you said, you're working with it yourself, trying to get that understanding, that thing. And we just thought, well, let's actually just jump in at the deep end a little bit and do a live stream. We're aware we might not get many people viewing, but ultimately you're here and you're asking the questions that we want to try to answer and actually help us learn. So we actually appreciate you here. You're helping us with this a great deal. So whilst we can't answer necessarily everything you're asking in maybe the way you're hoping, you're actually helping us consider that better for the next time and go, okay, we were asked this before, we didn't answer it in a satisfactory way. How can we do this better? Like you said, you're working on that idea yourself. You're grappling with it yourself. So it's more helpful than you know.
Yeah. And while you were doing that, I just realized that I forgot to tell the DeviantArt page that we had changed the menu. I'm wondering if they had anybody trying to click on the thing and find out that it doesn't work. Oh, Lord. Well, I fixed that problem, but geez, that's embarrassing.
For you.
Yeah, for both of us, actually.
Oh, why for me? You're the one that put the post up. I don't care.
I mean, want people to join in.
I know. I still want people to join in, and I understand that a gross error was made, but you made the error, so I can just sit and smile at you about it.
Well, I was hoping we had more. More people joining in, but I mean, it's only the first release. People are gonna still be spreading that around. We're gonna get more people interested.
We have a whole 3 people watching. I'm gonna take that and run with it. I'm very happy with that for a first stream that we're absolutely terrible at. So,
and don't get me wrong, I'm happy about this as well. It's just that I realized I kind of made a severe tactical error because I thought I had gone back and changed the link everywhere, and I realized on the place with our largest amount of followers, I forgot to change the link. That is so embarrassing. Yeah.
Again, Vic there, saying about the trailer, and he does instantly see that it is not The Expanse. It never would have been. It's whilst I might not have seen all of it, and I do like all different sort of forms of sci-fi, and I do try to ground things a little. My overarching thing, and I don't know, I'm thinking that Brandon may be the same, is to entertain. And you think how Star Wars entertains people. It's not technically sci-fi, but that's an argument for another time. But they've got their spaceships, they've got the lasers, they've got the lightsabers. They just jump in the spaceship and they go somewhere. And the importance is the story, and that's kind of what I wanted to do here. So we still, yes, we have hyperspace, we have spaceships, the Shadow Star, the Reckless, they have weapons, they have all different, kit and caboodle. Like I said, I designed them from the ground up, so I can tell you their hydraulic systems, how the electrical system, the whole power generation units and all of that. But I just don't bog myself down trying to make it, but trying to make it, like how does this work in the maths? Let's get the whiteboard out. It's not necessary. All it is I want that. So then if we want something to go wrong in a story, we can exploit it. And I've already got it baked into the design.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was the gearhead of the bunch. Yeah. That was the reason why I brought him on because originally the idea was to make, of course, make it into a webcomic, and I sucked at drawing machines. His machine drawings were amazing.
Sucked. Still suck. But yeah.
Hey, at least I try. And when I
do draw something,
you at least get an idea.
He tries my patience a lot. Yeah. That's about the most trying he does.
Hey. But the want to start talking about how specific you are with your character design.
Hey, just because I have rules and you're chaos.
Oh, I mean,
how on earth we work together, to be fair, is one for the ages. It is like the eighth wonder of the world. When the chaotic whirlwind that is Brandon just completely, I don't know how I've coped with you this long.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but order and chaos actually, hey, we're yin and yang. What do you want?
Yeah, it's true. Again, as Vic said, yeah, if you're looking for something like The Expanse, then yeah, you this would not be absolutely. I would say this would not be that at all, because like I say, it's my thing is the people and spaceships. I've always been one for spaceships. My most traumatic childhood moment was Star Trek 3, watching the Enterprise explode. Never mind that Kirk's son just got stabbed by a Klingon. No, forget that. They blew up the Enterprise. That was trauma.
Jeez, mine was the death of Optimus Prime.
No, it's always been blowing up the end. How could they do that? So when they got a new one, it was like, yay! I was happy, So, yeah, I mean, tech is a thing, but it's more a case of a bit like. Well, it was one thing I read when they had the Enterprise J in Enterprise, and it's this huge thing.
The nacelles.
Completely unfeasible, but the whole point is it's for like 900 years from now. We're not going to understand the manufacturing techniques they've learned in that time and the maths and the physics that they've learned. 900 years from now, like somebody 900 years previous from us will think that cars are magic.
Hell, I was watching Starfleet Academy, and make of that what you will, and the design.
I haven't seen it yet, but I will watch it because
the design for the starships in there are kind of, I don't know, just somebody decided to just go a little crazy or what. I mean,
if you've seen any of the later Discovery stuff, there's the the toilet seat ship, and then there's the other one, and none of the nacelles are attached anymore. But that's because it's all meant to be again 900 years in the future.
It's the 31st century. And and Starfleet Academy takes place in the 31st century, and they have this ship called the Athena, which
I'll say, but I haven't watched any of it yet, B, so don't spoil it for me.
But the thing is that they have this ship called the Athena. It doesn't even look like it has nacelles. It looks like it has wings.
Those are the nacelles. Yes.
Yikes. Well, anyway,
but that's my point is that the reason I don't go necessarily too hard into that is because we're setting this thing far enough in the future that there's a lot of technology that is speculative in a way. It's like, and that's always stood out to me. Like I said, that Enterprise J thing, the idea that some of the ship was grown or 3D printed, or it was it's so big that instead of going to the bridge, you've all got your own sort of hollow transmitters in your quarters, so then you're all just sat together on the bridge as holograms. Can it be? Well, I know what you mean, because it's been spoiled in some ways, but I still watch it.
I mean, let's say it like this:
behave yourself. It hasn't been that bad.
I couldn't get into Star Trek Discovery. To me, it just bored me,
Discovery's season 4 is the one season I will defend.
And then I tried watching Picard, and I was just sitting there like, is there any point into this where it actually starts having a plot?
But
And then
Picard suffered from the Amazon. We really need to force the diversity plots, a bit like the first season of Rings of Power, you know,
it's
where
power from what I've heard.
well,
I've
the second season is far better. They took on a lot more feedback, I think. But the thing is, it's like I don't have a problem with diverse people being cast in certain things, but Lenny Henry, a well-known English comedian, you know, from Dudley near Birmingham, playing what is supposed to be an Irish precursor to Hobbits. Lenny Henry doing a dodgy Irish accent, you know, was a bit like, this seems a bit of a misplaced casting. You know, and then you've got the and again, this is no disrespect to the actor, the Black Wood Elf that nobody can remember his name, not because it's actually who he is or who the actor is, because his character is so boring, no one forgets who he is, other than, you know,
well, it's not
see they cast a person for what reason? This person is forgettable instantly.
Well, it's not just that. They also played so fast and loose with Tolkien that Tolkien fans just felt insulted by the whole thing.
But then, oh yeah, and then it was girl bossing Galadriel. Yeah.
Yeah. But
what I did find amusing was Fat Gil Galad, though. You know, the ultimate Chad king of the elves, and that man's got a few chins. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, but back to Star Trek.
Yeah.
The only thing that the only Star Trek, the newer series that I really got into was Strange New Worlds, and I haven't really
good.
I've actually enjoyed it. I just hadn't gotten a chance to really sit down on my expansive backside and actually watch the whole thing all the way through. But everything I've watched thus far, I've actually really enjoyed.
I would actually agree with Vic here. Is just start again. Don't go with timelines or anything like that. It doesn't matter if you've recast all the original people. People know the names. And just do it. In fact, what I think I like with Strange New Worlds is they've slowly been bringing in the original characters with new actors. And though they're finishing Strange New Worlds off, it's maybe if they want to move into film territory again, like they did with the original cast, let these new actors they've cast in these original roles be the film cast and
also,
carry it forward that way.
Also, get better writers, because what they have and what I've seen people posting on Facebook, and I haven't really finished watching the first episode of Starfleet Academy. I mean, this could have been good if they hadn't gotten writers that looked like they were just like, "Ooh, this is Star Trekky. Let's put it in there," and not even realize how they were effing around with with continuity and with just everything. I mean, you remember the episode of the original series, Let That Be Your Last Battlefield? The one with the people with one half of their face was black, the other was white. Yeah. One of the cadets, they're called the planet they came from was called Charon or Charon. She was one of those races. I'm like, they're extinct. The two people that the Enterprise met with the last two of the race.
But to answer Vic's question here about with Trek and introducing your story to the world, what parts of the story would intrigue Trek fans? Probably the fact, like a lot of Trek stories, it's about what it means to be human. I mean, human sometimes doesn't necessarily mean, especially in Star Trek and in the films, human didn't necessarily mean being of the human race, but more the traits that make us human, that make us different to other races. You know, Klingons being warriors, Vulcans being logical. Humans are ruled by their feelings, but they're also not out and out destructive anymore. But we confuse other races because we're different in the way we embrace who we are.
The series was the series was basically it was what's the word I'm looking for, allegorical for basically the episodes tended to be allegorical. Even the Next Generation, its first like 2 or 3 seasons, a lot of episodes were very allegorical. They kind of grew out of that. But
now that's one, and I would probably reach out straight away, and Brandon probably guessed that I would mention my character Pip. young little Philippa, the engineered. She's if you've read our stuff, then she's an engineered human designed to be a processor, basically stuck in a pod, Matrix style, and just process data. Except she's managed to escape that life. She still embraces that. That's what she's good at. She's only like 5 foot tall, just under 5 foot tall, not very strong, not very powerful. But put her in cyberspace, and she's a god, and she knows it.
She's like Megamind on caffeine.
Oh, absolutely. It's the fact that she's gone from being this restricted life to having unfettered access to the most information and worlds possible. Knows she's good at something, and it's turned her into this little bossy little madam who, at the same time, goes, "Oh yeah, look at this. I'm so high tech at this. I know this. How is this not obvious to you?" To, "Oh God, I fancy this guy. How do I handle this? This is real. Feelings. Oh shit. Feelings. This is new." So she's gone from everything positive, getting everything she wants, to suddenly feeling something about someone she's not used to. And it's like, how does this work? Real life? No.
Yeah. My favorite thing that you ever did by her is when Chiron first meets her, and she just keeps asking why. I love that.
Yeah, because instead of come, what's this? What is the?
Let me see. So talk about that now. What is the far out, fantastical, extreme things in this universe? Mind powers, magic-like stuff, dimensions, etc. What can a reader expect? Definitely psionic powers is one of our more far-fetched things. There is an explanation for it. It'll be revealed in bits and pieces as the story goes around. But yeah, we have a character named Kumiko. Her little nom de guerre is Frostbite. And she is what is called a tertiary. Tertiaries basically are humans born with psionic powers due to their lineage. It has to do with the Thelians,
third generation,
which is the other alien race there. She is the daughter of a half Thelian named Tiger and an Imperial tank, a soldier named Akiko. And she tends to be very stoic and also kind of has a tendency to look down on most other people because she's kind of a genius and knows it and is also very powerful, but also has had pretty much her childhood taken from her because she was basically a lab rat for the Imperium. But she has implants that allow her to use her psionic power to draw out potential energy from her surroundings and release it as kinetic energy, basically fire. So one hand will turn things into ice while the other turns it into fire. And but also she has absorbed an alien artifact that allows her to travel anywhere in the galaxy. And so it makes her stupidly powerful among beings that are already stupidly powerful. And she uses it she has a soft spot for kids. So she uses it to help out other children like herself. And also to fight a particular alien race that has been wanting to take these children for clandestine purposes, among other things.
So with Vic's follow-up questions, galactic civilizations, the idea is this is another side of the galaxy. They were colonists, that they don't know where Earth is anymore, so they've eventually managed to make contact with each other and fill out a certain corner of the galaxy.
Yeah, it's a little more like Firefly. It's in a certain segment of the universe, not like
you had the point where technology advanced wonderfully. There were one big single Imperium, and then it fractured and it fell apart. And because of the infighting, technology regressed. Hence why one of our characters having a ship from that period is quite a big deal. So you have like an alliance, you have a new Imperium that's trying to rebuild, and then you've got several other smaller factions with their own little worlds carved out.
Space pirates, and you have the Thelian Empire. Yeah. The Thelian Empire is more basically, you think of them almost like a merchant race in a sense. So.
The pirate clans kind of just want to live their own life in their own space. They don't agree with one side, they don't agree with the other. So they're like, this is our place. This is what we'll do. You cross our borders, you're fair game. hence the pirate side of it. You know,
Yep.
The Imperium is much more militarized, much more expansionist, as opposed to, say, the Alliance, where it's like, look, we need to work together if we want to survive. And the Imperium is like, we need resources. You're good. We're coming for you.
And your other question, Vic, who is the main focus? Is there an evil empire? What's the tone of the politics? Well, the Imperium can be considered an evil empire, but as you go into, like, as we talk about the characters that are more allied,
literally just answer that question, but you carry on, B.
Yeah, they're not all evil. The Imperium has its own motivations, which could be evil and also but also could do good. Let me see. And then tone of the politics. Well, right now you kind of have things at a razor's edge before the Imperium and the Alliance are about to go to war, because the Imperium has become so expansionist, it's starting to horn in on Alliance territory. As a matter of fact, the Alliance was formed so that other free colonies, can gang up and prevent the Imperium from taking them over. I guess sort of the catalyst that drew
it's space that. NATO. That's
the catalyst that drew that was when the Imperium took over a planet called Mandela 1, which is the planet one of our main characters' wife comes from, and so that's sort of kind of letting things now be really, the tensions are kind of really high. And so you take certain incidents that might actually tip things into war. But then you'll find out as the story progresses that the war probably didn't need to be fought between these two. little, let me see, mwahaha moment. Let me see. Wow, it's a lot here. Does it feel like Space 1500s? Like where you had a lot of merchant fleets and a lot of infighting amongst European countries.
In the Alliance, there's rivalries, but no one is actively hostile to one another.
Yes.
The big one is Siberna's one of our main worlds, and then you've got another one called Dorado. They both claim to be the first world to make contact with the other when they all first managed to establish their colonies and finally sort of build and expand out. Each one's like, no, we were the first, and that's the source of tension between them. You have Zinj was the capital of the original Imperium that's been bombed to absolute shit, and they hate everyone, but they need everyone to rebuild, so they've kind of got to be nice, and they've got to play nice, otherwise they're just going to be left to die out.
Yeah, the people live underground. The cities, what's left of them, are just being scrapped for raw materials. So let me see.
But the borders themselves are actually quite fluid in a way. Like I said, the Imperium is expansionist. It needs resources to fuel. It's highly militarized in that sense. So it needs the resources, and it's starting to encroach on those sort of alliance worlds that are near by the border. But then you've got border worlds where both sides kind of quite happily visit. The civilian populations just cross over. There's a world called Zhao that nearly everyone goes to. If you want something and you can't get it, shall we say, above the table, you pop to Zhao, because most likely someone will sell it to you.
Zhao is Space Timu.
It's like if you want to get something, you can probably get it there, though it might cost you more than you would actually hope.
Yeah, Zhao is run by a lot of triads and the Yakuza. The Imperium has a presence there, but they tend to, it's just nominal. They're just kind of more there to keep the peace, because
it's a case of it's so far out that it's not really worth their time to really invest resources in managing it.
Yeah, it's pretty much just, it's a shopper's paradise, but under the thing about let the buyer beware, and don't do anything to piss off the big heads, or else you will have a habit of disappearing. So
it's where corporations also like to set up their test headquarters because there's so little oversight and regulation that they can do all the sort of testing that the likes of the Alliance wouldn't let them.
as a matter of fact, in our fourth book that's coming that we're working on, it's part of the story does take place in one of those testing facilities where something happens. Okay. Let me see. What's the scope or scale of the story? Is it just characters in the world having adventures? Are they part of the galaxy-wide stakes?
There is an overarching plot that is building. It's just the smaller adventures of the characters as they go along, but it all builds a puzzle. So it's all building towards a bigger, more overarching plot.
We also do have a series of side stories in a secondary compilation work called Tales of Wild Space. Probably won't be releasing those quite as often as the main stories, but they're side stories in that universe that have some significance to the plot, and others are just tales that are of interest because it's a big universe and you can tell a lot of tales there. Kind of like it's similar to how you had Star Wars tales, the comic books.
And the short stories they did, Tales of Mos Eisley and Tales of the Cantina and all of that.
Vilmar Garg, I like him. You're smiling, Billy. When you smile, I see entire worlds die. What did you do? told those droids to fix the planet. Fix it to death, I think. That's pretty. That's kind of the scale you get with Wild Space Saga. It's a big universe, gonna have a lot of stories to tell, and we really have the one main story. It's gonna be really good, I think. As we get everything out, we're on the fourth book, we're working on that.
Vic's next one, I will say, luckily that's where I come in, you see, because I do roadmap everything, whereas Brandon likes to fly by the seat of his pants, and I'm like, no, Brandon, I've worked this out for you. Now you know where to go with it.
Now, in all fairness, I'm not a complete pantser, and for those of y'all who are watching or who may watch it later, what I mean by pantser is that there are two general kinds of writers. One is called plotters, the other is called pantsers. Plotters actually take the time to write everything out in preparation. Pantsers write by the seat of their pants. They get the idea and they'll just write it out. I'm more of a pantser, but I do plot. My plots tend to be very general, so give me a little wiggle room, and then, or if I have an idea that might sound better, it's nothing's written in stone.
I reject most of them. Yeah.
So overarching scale. Let me see. I think you need to be a bit more explicit. I think you don't want to spoil things, but new readers need to see the roadmap. When I do explain some things, I do want to go a bit deeper, but I do worry that I'm going to be giving away.
The main thing really is the fact that technology has taken a step back due to the wars that happened. That fracturing of the First Imperium meant that currently, if they were to face any sort of form of massive danger, the human colonies and even the Felians are woefully underprepared for it. So something like this ancient ship that our main character Xerxes actually has is like what they call rocking horse shit. Hen's teeth. Is like, this is going to be necessary when the time comes. So whilst they're having their adventures, there is stuff sort of slotting into place as it goes along that is going to make this important. It's going to make it necessary. Like you say, it's difficult to say too much because you don't want to reveal too much, but there is more coming that makes what's happening each time, each small adventure is that piece of that puzzle. It slots in towards the whole as it goes. Whether you introduce a new group, a new character, they all come together eventually.
And you forgot to mention even the Gestalts, which are giant robots that they used to fight in arenas. Gestalts were originally basically used as weapons. though a lot of their functions still have not been fully figured out or unlocked. So even that's going to be kind of playing a big role.
It was a case of, I suppose, in a way that's a sort of Gundam style thing big mecha style thing, in the sense that these machines were used because technology was so advanced that they literally just built giant fighting robots because they could. So it's a case of here people are relearning not only what this technology did, but actually the importance of it and why it will be necessary. You know, ultimately, if there was to be a bigger threat down the road, they're not prepared for it. They can't cope with it. They need to rebuild faster than they are.
Mm-hmm. Now, are we going to culminate in a galactic war? Short answer, well, galactic, no. War, yes. Is the power structure of the galaxy going to change as a result of this story? Kind of, yeah.
Highly likely.
Yeah. So,
because at the moment, you have the Alliance, you have the Imperium. Ultimately, they're all working towards the same goal, but in different ways. The Imperium's a little bit further ahead technologically than the Alliance. But the whole point is they all need to. They know that they've got to rebuild, and they've got to rebuild quicker than they are.
Now, you said Brandon Sanderson calls it the promise of the premise. I really need to read more Brandon Sanderson. The only book I've ever read by him was Elantris, and I loved it. But anyway, Brandon Sanderson calls it the promise of the premise. What does the grand shape of the puzzle look like, so I can mentally see how important any given piece might be?
There's signs of a previous sort of war that spanned the galaxy thousands, maybe even millions of years before, and there may be signs that something from that still exists.
The best reference I can give you, if you ever watched Babylon 5, and I know I'm dropping it does sound like I'm name dropping, but really it is similar to what we have planned. You'll see it's something similar to that. And with Babylon 5, if anybody doesn't know, quick reference, a 5-season show. Basically, every season is like a chapter that tells about a war that changed everything. A war against a very ancient alien enemy. So, think of that what you will.
The difference here is we don't have the two factions trying to steer the races with different ideologies.
Right. It's not about two ancient races with different ideologies that were basically using the lesser races as pawns, the younger races as pawns.
To say, trying to preserve a little bit of mystery. It's a case of if this race comes back, then they need to be able to handle it.
Right. All right. So it's been an hour, and I really think that we ought to go ahead and kind of wrap it up right here. But we definitely want to start doing more of these. We are definitely going to be doing more of these.
I would say that Vic's feedback has been absolutely brilliant. His questions have been brilliant. If we haven't answered them satisfactorily, I do apologize. I hope in a way we have, but it will help us learn to articulate it better if we haven't. So keep your feedback coming, man. We appreciate the questions and everything you've given us. Oh, hello, he's going. He's
Sorry.
Already.
I turned it on, and then the volume had gone right back to the original.
He needs his Popeyes.
But Vic, thanks a lot for the questions. You really made this first inaugural release really worth it, because we were able to answer a lot of questions. We hope you come back and ask some more, and we hope there's going to be more people coming back. For those of y'all who are going to be maybe watching this after the fact,
that's part of what we're learning, B. And part of what Vic's given us a lot of help with is remembering, knowing who to engage, where to engage them, and get it out there. And hopefully you'll stick with us, because we really appreciate you.
Yeah. All right. So
you've given us a lot of things we didn't think about. So I'm happy with that.
All right, and so thank y'all for joining us, and for those of y'all who might be watching this after the fact, thanks for checking us out. If you want to see more of our stuff, you can go to DeviantArt. It's deviantart.com/WildSpace Saga. We have a lot of artwork, concept art, and also updates on where we're going to be. You can go to our X channel. That's WildSpace Saga, all one word. Where we talk about where I post announcements as well, and things that we may not have on DeviantArt. Terry, you have your Instagram, right?
Yeah, that's Wild Space Saga. It's Wild Space spelled AI in the space, because that's where I do a lot of sort of AI imagery and stuff like that. I know not everyone's happy with that, but it's what I use for the concept work on the characters. So if you want an idea of what they look like, you can pop over there, and at least it gives you an idea of what the characters are envisioned to be like.
Yeah, there's a lot of photorealistic stuff. Really good.
That's why I do it, because I'm trying to effectively, if you're going to do a casting call, what would they look like?
Yep,
that's why I use it.
All right, and we're gonna have a whole lot more, posted announcements, other places you might be able to see us. And if you're interested in checking out our books, you can go to Amazon.
That Vic there about sprinkling the artwork and videos, that is something I am working on. I've got title cards lined up, lots of little bits and pieces. Lots of music I've been working on and things like that. So absolutely, there's going to be a lot more content. This is just our first really amateurish attempt. But I've loved it, and I've loved you pushing us and really making us think about how to answer these things and how to give people, the right information to say, come and look at it, come and see what we're working on.
And also, if any of you out there want to, for those of you checking this out at the end,
all three of you,
our books, we can be found on Amazon, generally other sites as well, but Amazon's kind of the biggest one. We have our books, the first release of Between the Devil and the Dark, that's book 1, and second is Wrath and Redemption, that's book 2. And we're going to have a lot more things. We're going to have those books re-released very soon. We got to have our third book, Twisted Faith, coming out very soon. I think it's in April. I might be wrong. I have to go back and look. We'll have a correction for that later on if I have to. And just go on Amazon. Just look up Wild Space Saga by Brandon Hill and Terence Pegasus. And that's
that was an old username. For some reason, Brandon decided to put that on our stuff, and now it's official.
Yeah, for me to put that there. And let me see. Anything else that I needed to say about all this? I don't think so. If anything else, I will let other people know. Also, just keep following us here on YouTube. I'm going to have some more trailers posted. I'm going to have a few animations made. It's going to be a real fun time. So we hope
there will be a dedicated channel for Wild Space Saga coming up as well. So we've used Brandon's tonight because it wasn't ready. But then everything will shift to that new channel once it's ready to go.
All right. Well, you heard it from him. And so we will see you once again, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And if you're watching us after the fact, thank you for watching us. Hope to see you soon.
Hopefully we'll see you next time.
All right. Take care.
There it is. In frame. There we go.